The seasons began to shift, and with them, so did the texture of their love. What had started as a quiet, almost fragile, discovery between two souls, soon grew into something undeniable, something that reached into every part of their lives. They could no longer imagine a day without one another. Mornings felt incomplete until she read his good morning messages, carefully written with words that carried more warmth than sunlight itself, while his evenings were hollow unless her voice had filled them. It was no longer about the excitement of new love, that first rush of butterflies and stolen glances. It was about a steady fire that burned deep and constant, one that gave them both a sense of home in a world that often felt unpredictable. But with the step came the inevitable questions of life's larger path. One evening, as they sat in their familiar cafe, the rain falling softly outside against the glass, she turned her gaze toward him with an expression both tender and uncertain. "Do you ever wonder where this is going?" she asked quietly, almost as if afraid of the answer. Her words weren't meant to question his love, but to voice the weight of reality of family expectations, career ambitions, and the future that stretched before them like an open road, beautiful but daunting. He reached across the table, taking her hand as though anchoring her to the present, and replied, "Every single day. But I don't think of it as a question of where, only of how. How well walk it together, how well choose each step so we don't lose each other along the way. Because the only place I want us to go is forward with you." His assurance wrapped around her like the softest embrace, and yet the truth lingered between them. Love, no matter how strong, would eventually meet the test of circumstance. The test came sooner than either expected. His work began demanding more of him, longer hours, sudden travel, endless commitments that pulled him away. At first, she reassured herself with patience, telling her heart that love must sometimes make room for ambition. But as the nights grew lonelier, and the empty chair across from her seemed to echo with absence, a quiet age settled in. She missed him, not just his presence, but the way he noticed the smallest parts of her, the way he listened as though her words were sacred. When he finally returned after a long trip, exhaustion in his eyes, but a smile meant only for her, she tried to hold back the tears that had built in his absence. Yet, the moment his arms wrapped around her, all her restraint dissolved, and she whispered into his shoulder, "Promise me you'll never be left behind in the shadows of everything else." He pulled back just enough to look into her eyes, the sincerity in his voice unshaken even in his fatigue. "You are not behind me, you are not beside my work, you are with me, always. If I ever lose sight of that, then I've lost the very reason I fight so hard. Everything I do with you in mind. Don't ever believe you could be left behind." His words mended the cracks her loneliness had carved, though both knew that promises were not magic. They were threads that needed to be woven daily through action, through intention, through the constant choosing of each other. And so they chose. Again and again. Through late-night phone calls when distance stretched between them, through quiet weekends when the world outside seemed to fall away, through disagreements that tested their patience but never shook their foundation. Their love was not perfect, but it was real, messy, complicated, luminous in its honesty. They discovered that love was not simply about feeling, but about building, about bending when the storms came without ever breaking, about holding on even when letting go seemed easier. Each day became another brick in the home they were creating, not of walls and windows, but of trust, laughter, forgiveness, and the unshakable belief that they were meant to walk this road together. "Do you want me to keep the story